Welcome to Neilambar Wellness Resorts. Set amidst the hilly ranges of Dunera on the border of Himachal and Punjab. There are two main aspects to the resort. The first being the public sphere, consisting of administration, central parking, restaurant, arcade, viewing tower. The second aspect is that of a resort and an experiential journey of self actualization called the inner journey. Merged into the landscape and framing the mountains behind are the two ticketing counters. These are the first entry into the site. Built on 43 sprawling acres of land, the site is endowed with natural contours and a river skirting its lower edges. The first building that we come across is the Administrative Centre, built on the principles of locally endorsed Kathkuni architecture. Now we'll be reaching the main segregation of the site. A central installation will bifurcate the directions of the public and the private zones of the resort. First on, we'll be entering into the public zone. The administrative center is built on the classic principles of Kathkuni architecture, taking care of the site's operations, functioning, and management. Next on, we're heading towards the surface parking of 220 cars on the flattest land available. This is in close proximity to the public drop-off. The entry to the public area is through a dynamic shadow play leading to the reception of the public play. The reception further bifurcates into one leading to the viewing tower with an arcade block below. A universal design with 360-degree panoramic view. Next on, we'll be leading to the restaurant block. The restaurant block, in terms of its structure, is very similar to that of the viewing tower. Based on the principles of Kathkuni architecture, the first floor acts like a dining area with a panoramic 360-degree view. The top floor acts like a banquet and a stargazing unit at night. Now we'll be heading towards the other diversion of the private area. The private area consists of a resort like no other that offers spaces that not only experience nature in its lap, but also dig deeper into experiences of aligning with oneself through wellness services such as meditation, hydrotherapy, and healing gardens. On the left side, we see the viewing tower, the restaurant block, and the meditation block. The straight road that leads to the hotel drop-off seems like as if it's going into the skies and into the heavens. Based on the concept of element of surprise, the drop-off of the hotel leads to an earthworm entry. Being inside the mound, it gives away nothing and holds the element of surprise. The entry to the earthworm hotel has a skylight highlighting the model, showing us where we are, and an information desk behind it to help us with our daily needs. The other side is a frame with a panoramic view of the hills and a lounge that acts like a cliff and shows us the river, the mountains, and the infinity pool in front of it. Every room has been given a garden or an unobstructed view of the valley. The roofing has been designed with particular care that only north light enters inside the bedroom. The circulation connecting the rooms have been made with landscape pathways, giving a feeling of walking through the forest into your individual rooms. The central spine of the hotel acts like the public area. The central row of the hotel is the conference room, and the lower edge is a gym, spa,
Now we'll be
and the
entering
infinity
into the
pool.
meditational center. The visual central axis, with a crystal therapy popping harmoniously between the mounds, creates an inquisitiveness in the minds of the visitor. The therapy in totality is sixfold: de-stress, light transition, distress, symphony of water, luminance of light, and self-actualization. But what is self-actualization and how do we attain it? The answer must lie in the architectural journey.
Now we begin with the process of de-stressing. Walking along the shadow play corridor with a sneak peek of the crystal therapy to keep the curiosity in the visitor going. The meditation room will have guided meditation in the Zen gardens and individual meditation with the view of the crystal therapy.
Next on is a light transition experience. First is a space installation which allows the visitor to take in the emptiness, prodding them to move along. Then the ramps will lead them into darkness, gradually reducing the luminance levels with the help of slits that help the mind get used to them. The last portion of the slit touches the surface of the water, finally leading them into the dark rooms for a complete cut-off from your senses. The uneasiness caused is not only because of the absence of light, but primarily because of the absence of sound in the dark rooms.
To ease the uneasiness of the mind, we next arrive at a symphony of water, an installation of sounds of flowing water to bring back the sense of hearing. Spiraling up the ramp, gradually increasing the luminance of light, giving back the sense of sight. With all our senses intact, we head on into the crystal therapy. A heliograph device channeling all the sun rays into one streak of light, hitting the crystal ball and thus helping us access our third eye, allowing us to achieve the meaning that we seek. The experience concludes its course with a view of where it all began, to show us how it all has transpired. In the journey of self actualization, we never actually realize when we've attained nirvana. Heading on to our last two therapy, the hydrotherapy and the spa block. The spa is an intimate activity without a strong visual connection, but has a strong connection to sound. The hydrotherapy has three pools, flowing one onto the other, creating the sound of gushing water. The bridge is on top of a fish pool, allowing the visitors to dip their feet in it. The top deck has a relaxing area and a kids' pool. Lastly, a universally accessible infinity pool, jutting over and looking over the mountains, has a river skirting just around it, also making way for a magnificent sunset. Heading on to our next therapy, or the yoga therapy. Built on the banks of the river with stepped landscapes are the two tired yoga decks. With the winds and the sounds of the gushing water, yoga becomes a refreshing activity. Secluded, peaceful, and one with nature, the experience of mindfulness is best achieved here. We conclude our spiritual journey with the final stop at the Shiva temple. The statue of Lord Shiva is completely made out of wire mesh, signifying the omnipresence of the Almighty. He is everywhere, whether we see Him or not. He is one with us, whether we feel Him or not. The sun rises and sets through Him, as He is the creator and the destroyer of the universe.